Welcome to this week's podcast episode. I'm here back with Sky and Ant. So this week we're going through a bunch of questions from coaches, PTs, and online coaches. And just to kind of set this up as I did last week, a couple of the themes of this week and some of the questions were really insightful. First one was like best advice when relocating gyms. It was how to deal with limiting beliefs when it comes around to your worth in relation to your income, what a successful coach viewpoints and attitudes are that we kind of see. If you, what other ones were on here? Podcast versus YouTube, what's better to do as starting out of long form content? We had, what else we got? Do we think Instagram platforms and short form content is starting to die out from a selling perspective? So we dig into that. Yeah, so a lot of mindset, a lot of marketing questions and lead generation and sales questions, but a hell of a lot about self-limiting belief. So really good session, about half an hour long. You can check out the timestamps below. So if you want a particular question, you can bypass all the jargon and go straight there. But enjoy this episode. As always, like, subscribe, drop us a comment down below to let us know how you're enjoying this or anything you want us to cover in the following episodes. Cheers.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PTMA podcast, where today I am taking your intro, so it'll probably be the best it's been for a while. I am with Sky Hill, who has a shitty signal as per usual, and Nicholas Michael Hanley, who has an ever-changing background, and today is a book corner. I like that, Nick, little book corner there. Have you ever seen them people who in their house have wallpaper, but the wallpaper is books?
Yeah, it's done.
You kind of have that here.
Yeah.
But imagine committing to that on a wall.
Yeah,
imagine
just didn't. It was completely wrong then, weren't you?
It is fucked, that, isn't it?
Completely wrong.
What about I go out and put wallpaper on my wall with books on?
It's definitely something you'd do.
No, it's not. It's not. What's going on here? She had a little better. Look at that. Yeah, it's that fucking saggy signal in Uppermill, isn't it? Okay. Should we have some small talk or should we just get into it?
There we go.
I thought something.
I couldn't even see Nick, so you're chatting shit about a bookcase and I couldn't see anything, so...
You're never into small talk, let's be real.
What's the best way to check an online client's technique?
It's the same signal. I've just gone from phone to laptop, so I don't know why it does this. Anyway, I'm here. That's all that matters.
FaceTime. Sky.
To record themselves. If they are an online client that I'm not going to see in person, I'll get them to record themselves, upload that, give them some cues, get them to record it again. If it's not improving over time, then yes, you could potentially, I guess, jump on Zoom or FaceTime them and talk them through it in real time if you have the capacity to do that. All of the above
what he suggested in the first place, I think. Just
especially if someone
to see which
is new and I haven't seen them move in person, I always get online clients in the beginning to upload
fundamentally is this
videos
is where probably you need to lead a little bit
movements
as a coach,
that are
because if you're going, I want them to move
incorrectly or inefficiently,
and efficiency and progress over time. You've got to get some form of video feedback. And I think some coaches will sit on the fence. Oh, do you want to do this? And do you want to do that? I think sometimes you've got to go, if you're the type of coach that I need to see that level of form, and I think everyone should be, then you probably got to lead a little bit and go, right, I need you to do this way. I know it's probably a little bit awkward, but the only way that this is going to work and to do it in a safe and effective way is if we do this moving forward from a video perspective. So yeah. And you're probably going to have to put your foot down early on the video stuff because some people will potentially be a bit uncomfortable with it. But yes, there's some decent apps. Like I used to use Coach's Eye. I don't know, like that used to help with stuff like that. And because it's new and a bit swanky, some people buy into it. I think there's one called OnForm now that I've spoke to another coach about. So maybe have a look at them as well. And draw lines and shit, can't you? Make yourself look even better. Anything you would add to that, Nick?
Nope.
I just wanted to draw lines on hinge pattern. I've got a small group training PT trial starting Monday with 4 clients and a priority list building for future rounds. How do I keep that list warm between now and the next launch without it going cold or feeling like I'm just constantly selling to them? Nick?
I would have somewhere where you can communicate with them, whether that's email, Facebook group, WhatsApp group, where you can obviously send high value pieces of content to them, stories. You could maybe invite them in to take part in your classes if you're doing group exercise to the gym, maybe even kind of position a little questionnaire. We can find out what their immediate wants or challenges are, potentially put a little challenge together for them. I think anything where it's going to kind of match what they want and need without obviously being able to deliver what your core offer is. And just general conversations between you and them individually, I think is a huge one. Putting it into your diaries, checking on them every couple of weeks or every month, depending on when you're going to run your next one. So yeah, regular long form content, but also those personal touches. There you go. Next.
Yeah, it probably could have you by the spuds if, for argument's sake, it's usually how it's built, isn't it? So like the standards of how it's built, or it's
When
expected to
equipment
have a
says
lower
it's
level
for
of usage.
home use only and not commercial use, what does
If
that
they've built
actually
it for home
mean?
use,
Is it
it's
just about
obviously
the
going to have a lot
warranty you
lower
get with
usage
it?
than a gym, and therefore probably any promises around how they expect it to last or warranty or all of that type of stuff, insurance potentially, is all based on lower volume of usage. So it's probably more so around that. Yeah, that's all I would probably say on that. Yeah, warranty side, it's going to come into from a warranty perspective, but from my understanding, it's usually because they built it with not having a high level of usage within a gym. That's it. Anything you would add? Anyone else on that question? Great, next one. Nick, come on. I've got 'em ready. Like it's Nick's question now to Sky. We've been round once. It's been 3 questions on it.
Well, the first one that came to my mind is you've got to have a level of, I guess, resilience, because you're still figuring things out. Like, you don't just come to the mentorship, get handed it, and then, right, I've got this, it works, and I know what to do. You've got to take action, reflect on how that went, reflect on what you could potentially do differently. How did it land? You've got to constantly be doing new things and challenging yourself in different ways to figure out what's going to work for your business. And when you don't have a level of resilience to that, you'll do one thing, not get the return that you thought, or not get the result that you maybe wanted. And instead of trying to learn from that, you'll take that as a kind of a personal failing of, oh, well, I'm just shit, or no one wants my thing, or that lead magnet was wank, or whatever it might be. So I think resilience is a big one in business in general. If you want to be successful, you've got to have a level of thick skin of, I'm just going out there and
I think the aspiration
myself
of
and my business
wanting to actually run
in
a
front of
business,
people
I
in
think
different
is
ways and
a big
seeing
one.
what
That sounds
works,
kind of
seeing what I enjoy
a
as
bit
well.
weird.
So resilience is definitely one
Similar
that
to what
popped
you
to
said
mind
there, I think
when
a
I read
lot
that
of
question
people,
first.
when they buy any
What would be
service,
yours, Nick?
when the money's exchanged, they tend to kind of think that's the job done. And when you add something into your life, whether it's a mentorship or a program or different way of eating or whatever, you're going to have to give something up. And a lot of the time that either means energy, time, finances, commitment, challenge yourself on failings, on successes, doing stuff that you find challenging and new. Embracing those things is going to be incredibly important. To be honest, not really to do with the mentorship per se, but just life in general, let's be honest. But I think the people who do embrace those things and lean in when things get hard instead of lean out are the ones that are opening their own gyms, are having the time back, are earning the revenue they want, are buying their first homes, really kind of reaping the rewards of doing those things, not necessarily whether a post got engagement or whether a lead magnet worked first time or not. So it's definitely the bigger picture that lead to success and leaning into all of that. Yep.
I would say the ones that do well are the ones that have a mindset shift from being a coach to a business owner within their working week operationally. I feel like the ones who do well have this light bulb moment where it goes, actually, I need to be very good in both worlds, and it's not just one world. I need to be very good in both. And with that, I need to become very operationally accountable to that. And I think the quicker the coach gets their head around kind of that whole strategic, I'm running a business with a marketing strategy, with product strategy, with this is how I'm going to retain people. And these are the things that I need to prioritize from a project management perspective, because they're all skills that need to be developed. And then they are inserted into my week within my opening and closing hours, and I'm accountable to that, not letting myself off the hook just because I'm self-employed and the benefits of being self-employed and all of that type of stuff. The moment that happens and that shift happens, where you operate just as good as a business owner as well as a coach is super important. And I know that takes time, but I think the mindset shift of acceptance on that, the quicker you get your head around it and work in a way that is operationally sound and keeps you accountable to working hours, where they might have to sacrifice some well-being hours or all of that type of stuff. And the way you see the working week is in seasons of not a work-life balance, but you integrate it into kind of work grafting and then taking some time off and all of that type of stuff, or backing off a bit. I think that shift for me is super important. And the ones that do well in that is they become strategically sound and operationally sound. And that, in essence, is what moves the business forward. Next.
How did you, this is a question for all of us, but how did you find the transition from GM, PT mentor within a commercial gym to fully self-employed business owner, especially in the early days? And how did you overcome challenges with finances, family, and new daily routine? Let's go both for you. And go first.
I think we're still in the early days. I think, and that's where a lot of the coaches need to accept sometimes, our business owners, that depends. Like, we've both been full time in this role for the best part of 3 years, probably now, actually. So it's still early days being full time. But what I will say is tough, because ultimately, a lot of the time, I said last week, I chopped 50% of my revenue off my monthly revenue every single month for the first, I don't even know how long. So that's tough, because especially when you've got a young family and all of that type of stuff. So that was really hard. And with chopping the revenue, then what you do is chop the time with the family. And that, for me, was a boundary that I wasn't willing to give too much up. So you've then got to manage your expectations on it. So for me, that was really, really tough. And it's just got progressively less tough over the years in one way or another, as long as you keep working at it. So yeah, that was difficult. But I think you've got to, A, be prepared for it, B, manage your expectations initially, and C, if you want it faster, then you obviously have to just sacrifice more time and work more to get the quicker return. And then I had a battle with them boundaries, because one of the reasons why I left like a dual role like that was because I wanted to spend more time with my family. So yeah, it was really, really tough. And in terms of overcoming them challenges, well, a bit like we said before, become a bit more strategic, operationally sound, made sure that in the hours that I was working, I was getting a bigger bang for our buck in terms of bringing more people in. And then we start, obviously, earn more money and all of that. The fuck are you doing? And this is a deep moment here, Nick. Yeah, so ultimately, it's really tough. It's really tough. And anyone who kind of goes, it's the best decision I ever made and all of that, there's definitely moments of that. But there's some other moments where you'll sit there and go, fuck, this is a lot and this is hard to manage, and you're building again. But the bigger picture and the long-term view on that is the fact that you're going to get out of it what you want for the person asking the question, which is definitely you'll earn the same or more money and pretty sharpish. And you'll definitely get that time back with your family as long as you're willing to sacrifice some of that at points when it gets busier. So yeah, it's tough, but progressively gets a lot easier and more rewarding for it. Daily routine was difficult. And I was speaking to my missus about this yesterday in regards to sleep and having to train first thing in the morning and all of that type of stuff. So there's still a balance to be had, but I think the quicker you can get into a routine that gets the most out of your productivity, the better. Making sure, again, I'm going back to what I said before, you're really clear on your opening and closing hours, what you need to do and your priorities within that time, making sure that you set aside time for yourself at some point within your day as well, I think is super important. So yeah, long story long, very, very tough and challenging, but progressively gets much better as long as you're willing to face into it and manage your expectation. Anything you would add to that, Sky?
Yeah, I would. I think the beginning, you have to be prepared to put in more time than you currently are. You just have to. Like, you can't not do that when you're needing to get the finance from the business that you're about to run. But what I would say on the flip side is that I can just remember taking a lot of that like uncertainty, worry, and that fear, and trying to also pay attention to the excitement. Like, it's fucking exciting. You are about to be free of people telling you what to do, people to report into. You know, you're going to be managing your own time. You can take holidays when you want to take holidays. You can make your own routine that suits you. You know, you might decide that between you and your partner, I know this person's got, you know, a young family, you might be like, right, well, I want to make it so that I can have these 2 full days where I can do drop-offs and pickups and after school, after nursery, whatever it is. I think sometimes we get so caught up in that what if. Fucking hell, worst case scenario. I just kept telling myself, worst case scenario, if I'm not where I want to be, I'll get a part-time job until I am. Like, there's so many things to think about. If you're not getting excited about it, it becomes even more of a graft. Like, it's going to be a graft either way. But like you said, the bigger picture thing is that you're going to have something that's completely yours. So don't forget, in amongst this, to get really excited about it as well. But you are just going to have to in the beginning sacrifice. Like, I remember I was pretty much working from the minute I woke up to like late evening.
Nick, anything you would add?
Doing free stuff, lead magnets, all the admin
great,
stuff,
Nick.
everything
Nice
that
to get your
goes
spin
with
on
it,
things, you know what I mean?
and then coaching clients. But once it was put in place and I had those systems, then you start to take a bit of time back. So yeah, I think the only thing that I would add is, yeah, it's a graft, but be excited about it because what you're building is going to be worthwhile.
Yeah, Instagram is starting to become.
Do you think that Instagram and platforms
harder
online are starting to become redundant places to sell your business, as people are starting to not trust what they see and hear?
They'll become
and
redundant?
if so, what, in your opinion, is the best way to build that trust going forward,
Maybe in a
online or
direct
otherwise,
way,
in the current
to a certain
climate?
extent, but I think it's a window.
Good question, Nick.
Into your business. I think long form content absolutely is what's going to sell people. YouTube emails, and what's going to be the differentiator is unfortunately going to be you. And when I say unfortunately, it means the reason is because most people find that very challenging, is putting their personality out there and putting their daily life out there and bridging that gap of trust. Yeah, from a pure sense of like, I don't think this is very interesting. It's just what I do day to day. But that essentially is what's going to build trust with people. Your information is not going to build trust at the moment, and it probably won't to a further degree as time goes by, because everything is at your fingertips. The way that you resonate, way people resonate with you, the way people connect to you, the way that you can articulate how to do something, can apply something, and seeing that you're real, that you're authentic, that's going to be the way that you build an online business going forward, in my opinion. Instagram good for awareness. I don't think it's going to be the place to sell. It's not the place to sell right now. And I don't think it will be going into the future, purely because people know when they're being sold to. And when you know you're being sold to, you shut off, don't you? So yeah, it's ensuring you have those other elements, an ecosystem to pull people into, and for them to explore and look around and try stuff and read stuff and get exposed to you. Anything you would add? What's the hardest or most challenging part of your job?
Working with Nick.
Why is that? Because I'm demanding.
Demanding? You're not demanding.
Why is it then?
Fucking hard work.
Nope.
Right? Just hard work, Nick. All right. Here's the question for. All right. Sky, what's the hardest and most part of you?
Do you know what I actually find the hardest part is? Sometimes you do just want someone to come in and be like, this is brilliant. You've made real progress here. This is where you need to focus your energy. Like, sometimes you do want a little bit of a manager above you to be like, right, this is where we're focusing our efforts, or this is really great. Now we need to work here. Sometimes it's really hard to step back from it and look at it logically without emotion. So that's sometimes what I struggle with, is sometimes I can't see that until I like really glaringly see, like, shit, I need to put more focus here, or I've dropped the ball there, or whatever it is. So sometimes it's managing yourself,
and I mean this
I
in a
find
nice,
the hardest
possible
part,
way, right? If
but
you
that
think
can also
about
be
it,
a real positive as well, because again, like I've
we've
just said,
transitioned the
it's your
coaching
own
career
business,
where
it's
we
your own
focused on
thing.
behaviour
But
change,
that's
and
definitely something that I
we
find
talked
quite
about movement integrity
challenging
before, and coaching people
sometimes.
on the gym floor and all that type of stuff. But in essence, what we're doing here is behaviour change. But then you've also got to remember about the person, the individual, the communication style,
Yes.
like how to get the best out of that person, what's going on in their life, how that dictates what happens in the business, their marketing strategy for the next 3 months, their marketing plan for the next 3 months, what their client retention strategy is going to look like, what model are they going to run, what their content plan looks like. So there's so many moving parts to the business and the coach that to be able to do that with lots of different coaches is really, really fucking tough. It's great and it's rewarding, especially when you see coaches doing well, and working with people is great because that's what I'm used to. But at the same time, that's the hardest part. It's challenging. It relies on, like, you are the business initially. Sorry, you are the business essentially, should I say, in a lot of cases. So then coaching and mentoring and training and developing and educating coaches with completely different all areas of personalities and everything that comes with it is really challenging. To go from one coach in 1 hour to the next coach in another hour with a completely different strategy, different, all of that is challenging and tough. So probably the calls to be able to have the energy and the understanding of the person and the business and the detail and how to get the best out of them, I would say that's the toughest, but also in a lot of cases, in most days, the best part, because you see some good progress. Nick?
Yeah, I just agree with that. It's, working with people is hard and challenging. So yeah, I wouldn't add any more, to be honest. Next.
Is someone cutting their grass next door or something? Yeah. Tell them, can you just tell them you're on a podcast?
Shut up. I don't listen.
Podcast versus YouTube, which one is better to do if someone was looking to add another form of long form content with email? Nick?
I think podcasts are more accessible for a lot of people versus YouTube. But I think YouTube is still, even though you think YouTube is maybe a little bit too late to join, I still think YouTube is a great platform, but you've got to offset like time invested into it and editing. And so I would start off honestly with probably podcast. I think that can get your personality across without too many barriers. I think it's less friction of getting people to listen. I think it's an easy way. So yeah, I would say podcast generally. Yeah. Next one.
Very hard to think about this because it's
If you had to replace your laugh with an animal noise forever, which animal are you picking?
I'm going to go think about this because I always get asked these questions. And when I come off, I'm like, oh, I could have said that.
You've got
An
to actually
animal
do it though.
noise.
You've got to answer the question with the noise.
Chimpanzee? No.
Call it a chimpanzee.
No, come
I
on.
instantly think of farm animals, right? Is it? What's yours?
Go on, give us it then.
Yeah, I was thinking about a pig because it's just fun.
Yeah, that's mine. Mine's a pig. Do that anyway sometimes. The cheeky little snort comes out.
Well,
Like a little oink.
everybody fucking know that
Snorty
answer.
oink. And I just think it's the closest thing to a laugh. A chimpanzee,
Cow.
Nick, I wouldn't know if you were
I'm
laughing
going-
or if you
no,
were in
not a
pain.
cow.
So
A horse.
it needs to be clear that
I like the
it's
thought of an
replacing
horse,
the laugh.
to be fair.
You know what I mean?
Man, it's very like, it's just new, isn't it? It's just like, I feel like
How will I know if my jokes are
feel
funny
like I've
if I
got
don't,
more
I don't know if
personality
you
than that.
actually laugh?
Fucking the horse is given.
Go on, Anne. What are you fucking going with?
Getting took.
I'll go on a house for now, so we're keen to get it. But I'm going to have a good think about that one. Yeah, I think so.
Sounds like a fucking canal boat. Okay. Biggest advice when relocating to a gym where your online coaching needs to become your
I don't really get the
main
question.
focus.
I do. It's not hard. You just don't want to understand the question.
Maybe
I don't know why
You're a
your
fucking problem
online
to get
coaching
you.
would need to become your main focus
Biggest
when going to a
advice
new
when
gym.
relocating to a gym where your online coaching needs to be your main focus is moving from a
But let's
commercial
frame
gym
the
to a
question
private
as you
gym.
need to grow
so
your
there's less
online
footfall.
coaching.
Yeah. What would you say now?
Well, relocating to another gym's got
Who
nothing
was
to do with your
asking?
online business, has it?
It hasn't, but his online coaching is clearly his priority, as it says in the question.
You answer because I'm going to be direct because I don't understand what's difficult about it.
If you're going to focus the majority of your time on your online coaching, then predominantly, I'm not sure. Like, obviously, from an online perspective,
So,
yes.
advice.
But if you have a gym that allows you to drive traffic to your online coaching from there too, I would be, how can I utilize that gym? So I would be putting on probably workshops, sessions, some form
be
of
online.
events within the gym to bring people into me. I'd be using my online from a traffic perspective for that. But ultimately, for this person, they need to explore having more than one or two different mediums. Does well from an email and an Instagram perspective. Inconsistent with from a commercial gym perspective in terms of lead gen. So for me, it would be, you have to think, I hate the saying, but outside the box with your marketing. If you're going to move to a gym which hardly has any footfall and it puts the stress on your digital marketing, then you can't just rely on that being Instagram, Facebook, email. You're going to have to put more effort in, and that will be to do different things in the local area, Facebook community groups, bring people inside the gym to you and get groups of people in there every single month that you could use as ways to get in front of people. For this person specifically, it needs to be more in and around the detail of the variation of different mediums instead of just relying on one or two. Because ultimately, if the focus is online coaching, then as Sky just said, you're a digital marketer and you've got to plaster across all of them platforms, plus make the most of where you are inside that gym. Last question. Dealing with limiting beliefs and trying not to tie your self-worth to income and how the business is performing, which I'm struggling with at the minute. How to deal with it. I'm going to go with Nick.
Difficult one if you're in a position where finances are tight, naturally. I don't think you could ignore that. I think looking at some of the takeaway, like you're going to feel emotionally about that. So I think going on the other end of the spectrum and balancing that out, I wouldn't say take the emotion out because that's ridiculous, but balancing it out with facts, figures, actions, and tangible things you can do is probably your best option. For example, what are you doing currently to generate more revenue? What are the holes that are potentially missing? Is it consistency of marketing? Is it asking for the business enough? Is it looking at what you're delivering with your current clients and letting that shine through as some of your marketing? So I think I would be probably there could be a million and one different other things that you could probably look at, but the things that I would probably go to are those that are going to make me feel validated that I'm doing the right things, validated that I can earn money, validated that people will spend money with me and get good results, and using that as an anchor of then trying to pull people in that are similar and making sure that I am not leaving anything on the table that I know I should be doing, but maybe shy away from. I don't know what that is. I have no idea. Those are things that I think are the things that would help balance it out. I think just saying take the emotion out is ridiculous. It's absolutely pointless. But I think balancing it out, having been able to know what to do to affect that is probably the most logical thing that could balance out emotion. So yeah.
Anything you would add to that, Sky?
No, I was just trying to think, from my perspective, when I feel like that, I tend to feel like that when, not always, but it is usually looking at well, what am I doing in my business? Because I've had times when I feel like I'm really enjoying content creation. I'm enjoying doing podcasts. I'm enjoying emails. Everything. I'm ahead of my schedule, but I might not be earning what I have been earning before. But I'm in a good headspace with it all, and I know that that's gonna pay back later down the line. Whereas if I'm not doing all of that, then it feels negative. So yeah, I don't think I'd add anything. I think it's the same. Like you said, it's looking at the things that you can affect, things that you're already doing. It's not always looking at the finances, because if I was only going to look at my finances and also comparing it to other people, then I'd always feel like shit. So I have to look at how do I feel within my business and what
Not
I'm
much.
doing,
I agree with
and use that.
both. I think
Again, you're not taking the emotion out of it, but you're just getting a bit more of a factual
that
kind of
there is
within
a
my
mix of
controllables. What am I
patience
doing?
with the
Look at
process.
things.
As long as the process is being
What would you add?
making sure that you're creating the opportunity and offers for people to come in. That understandably, you're going to get frustrated sometimes when your expectations of income aren't being met, but you've also got to look at how long and how consistent and how hard have you gone in asking for the business off the back of a long patch of building value and awareness and attention and interest and all of that type of stuff. So I think for me, if you're judging that off 1 week, I think I'd give yourself a kick up the arse. But if you're judging that off 4 weeks and still being disappointed, then it's warranted, right? And then something has to change. So for me, that would be a bit of one of them compassionate kicks up the arse of going, you've had 1 week of really driving some level of directness that needs to continue before you let it get to you too much. And then you assess it and then you go again. And then if these elements of sometimes maybe looking at the plan and going, well, if money has to change, if I have to bring in money right now, what can I do that on a quick injection of cash? Is it that I do the front end offer, bring it in earlier? Is it that I offer something that's not in the plan at all because I just need to react? And sometimes that's warranted too. So that's up for discussion. But I think for this person, probably just a little bit more of a focused direct call to action and following up with people, because he's worked hard from a marketing sense, but probably hidden away with the direct calls to action too often. Any final thoughts? Happy days. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Goodbye.